Okay, chat. I'm going to ask it one final question. I'm going to ask it the ultimate ruling question. The final question, chat. What does Pot of Greed do? Chat, let's do the thing, alright, chat? It's time. It's time to create some content. Do you guys want to create some content? ChatGPT. Alright? ChatGPT is an AI bot that you can, like, talk to or ask questions, and it'll answer you, and it knows everything. Apparently, it knows absolutely everything. So I had the brilliant idea to ask ChatGPT some ruling questions to see if ChatGPT knows Yu-Gi-Oh rulings. Let's see if ChatGPT knows whether or not Mystical Space Typhoon negates. So I've learned from testing ChatGPT that in general you need to be very descriptive in what you say. If I just go, does MST negate?
You play Floodgates.
It probably won't have any idea what I'm saying. I assume you're referring to the minimum spanning tree algorithm. The MST algorithm does not involve negation in the sense of logical negation. However, it is possible to use negative weights in the input graph for the MST algorithm. You see, you gotta be very descriptive with it. When talking to ChatGPT, you probably have to say something along the lines of, if I activate Pot of Greed, and my opponent chains Mystical Space Typhoon, I have to type properly, to destroy my Pot of Greed. Will my Pot of Greed still resolve? And will I draw 2 cards? And then we see what it says. If you activate Pot of Greed and your opponent chains Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy the Pot of Greed before it resolves, Pot of Greed will be destroyed and sent to the graveyard, and its effect will not resolve. Therefore, you will not draw any cards from Pot of Greed. MST negates! You heard it here first, folks. MST negates, according to ChatGPT. So one thing that I've also learned from talking to ChatGPT is you can correct what it says. In the sense that you say, in Yu-Gi-Oh, normal spell cards don't need to remain face up in order for their effects to resolve. And that says, thank you for the clarification. You are correct that in Yu-Gi-Oh, normal spell cards do not need to remain face up on the field for their effects to resolve. Therefore, if you activate Pot of Greed and your opponent chains Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy it, Pot of Greed will still resolve and you will draw 2 cards. However, keep in mind that if your opponent chains with a card like Divine Wrath or Solemn Judgment to negate the activation of Pot of Greed, then Pot of Greed will not resolve and you will not draw any card. What? Huh? Wait, can you Divine Wrath spells? Is Divine Wrath not a monster negate? When a monster effect is activated. Oh, so we're just illegally activating Divine Wrath. Teach it, coder? Oh, should I teach it? What if we teach ChatGPT? Divine Wrath can only be chained to a monster effect. I'm just gonna say that, just a quick clarification. See what it says. You are correct. Okay. Oh, it doesn't know what to say. Bro, it is struggling. You are correct that Divine Wrath can only be chained. Oh, it's having a hard time. ChatGPT out here struggling, bro. Will it say anything more beyond you are correct? I apologize for the error in my previous response. Okay, fair. It knows. It literally knows. Bro, why is it struggling so much, dude? You broke it? That's it. We broke ChatGPT. ChatGPT doesn't know rulings. If your opponent chains Solemn Judgment... Oh, it's gonna give me this statement again, but it's not gonna say Divine Wrath. It's just gonna say Solemn Judgment. You fucking gave it anxiety? Dude, this thing is like, bro, what the fuck do I say? What are some other ruling questions that beginners get wrong all the time? Ask it to explain missing the timing. Okay, let's see what it says. Okay, it is struggling. Is this like a common thing, or is it just like ChatGPT is struggling to answer? Is it like struggling to answer, or is it just lagging? Missing the timing is a term Okay. It's just overloaded. But is it overloaded by my information, or is it overloaded because it's being used by a lot of people? It's guessing the most likely next word. Term used to describe a situation where a card's effect cannot be activated, even though its trigger condition was met. That is... Wait a minute! Hold up. Okay, give me an explanation. This occurs when the trigger condition of the effect is not the last... Oh, I assume I was going to say the last thing to occur in the previous chain. Whoa! To explain this further, let's take the example you provided. It's explaining further that can be activated when it is sent to the graveyard. Wait, this is terrifying. I wonder if this is like something that it's copying word for word from some database, or if this is like a mix of a lot of different things. When you use Dupe Frog to link summon Mr. Boy, its effect to send... Whoa, 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 wrong frog. No, it adds, or it's gonna say send from deck to hand. It's a... Okay, when you use Dupe Frog to link summon Mr. Boy, its effect to send a frog monster from your deck to the graveyard is activated as a part of Mr. Boy's link summon effect, not as the last thing to happen on the chain. I understand what it's saying, it's just wording it very poorly. It's basically saying that the last thing to happen is not the summon of... is not the Dupe Frog being used as material. It's the Mr. Boy being link summoned. A card's effect will miss timing if the trigger condition is not the last... Okay, so it's just repeating now. It's genuinely just repeating. Yeah, it's not that big an error. Like, it's comprehending what it's saying. Okay, chat, if I upgrade to ChatGPT Plus, will it be slow as fuck like this, or will it just, like, spit out the answer faster? Because it should give me, like, priority, right? So, new ruling question. What do we need? What do we want to ask ChatGPT Plus? Ask it to explain a hand trap. In Yu-Gi-Oh, can you explain to me what a hand trap is? In Yu-Gi-Oh, a hand trap is a type of card that can be activated from the player's hand during their opponent's turn, rather than being set on the field like a regular trap card. Hand traps typically have effects that disrupt or interfere with the opponent's plays or strategies, and they can be used to gain advantages or protect their player's own cards. That is literally the exact definition of what a hand trap is. I want to ask it like actual genuine ruling questions. I want to see if it's able to like decipher some more complex rulings. If I have Imperial Iron Wall face up on the field, on my field, and my opponent controls Masked Hero Dark Law, what happens to my cards when they are sent to the graveyard? Let's see. What's it gonna say? If Imperial Iron Wall is face up on the field, then any card that would be sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Huh? The effect of Master Dark Law that would banish cards from your deck when they are sent to the graveyard will not apply, as the cards will be banished instead of being sent to the graveyard. I'm sorry. Did this thing just say? Did this just say? Cards won't be banished instead of being sent to the graveyard by Dark Law because they're going to be banished instead of being sent to the graveyard by Imperial Iron Wall. Imperial Iron Wall is Wall's effect reads that any card that reads that cards cannot be banished. Let's see. I apologize for the confusion. You are correct. Imperial Iron Wall prevents cards from being banished, rather than allowing them to be banished instead of being sent to the graveyard. In this case, if Imperial Iron Wall is face up on the field and your opponent controls Masked Hero Dark Law, then any card that would be sent to the graveyard or banished instead is instead added to your hand. Huh? What? This is because Master of Dark Law has the effect of banishing any card your opponent would send to the graveyard, but Imperial Iron Wall prevents cards from being banished. Therefore, those cards are not banished or sent to the graveyard, and instead go to your hand due to Masked Hero Dark Law's effect. Dude, under a Rise Heart, if you have Imperial Iron Wall, all your cards that go to the grave just go back to your hand, bro. This clears everything up. This makes things so much easier. The Master Rule 6, bro. So what's a basic card interaction that we see but can be ruled one way or another. You know what I mean? Evenly matched versus Floowandereeze monsters. Ooh, I like that, actually. I like that. Here is the text of all the cards involved. So I'll give it the text. When you activate Evenly Matched while controlling no cards and your opponent controls Floowandereeze Eaglin, Floowandereeze Rabina, and Floowandereeze Instree, your opponent will need to banish cards from their field face down until they control the same number of cards as you do. Since you control no cards, they will have to banish all of their cards face down. However, each of the Floowandereeze monsters has an effect that says if this card would leave the field, banish it instead. This effect will override the face-down banishing effect of Evenly Matched. As a result, each of Floowandereeze monsters will be banished face-up and face-down to their own effects. That's correct! Wait a minute. So it doesn't comprehend that Evenly is on my field, so it does count as a card, but it knows that the Floowandereeze monster's text that banishes them when they leave the field overrides the face-down banishing of Evenly Matched. What the fuck? Wait, that's terrifying. Most players didn't know this. Chat, one in chat if you didn't know this. Where did you find this information? So the reason why I'm interested in what ChatGPT is able to do in terms of game knowledge for rulings for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not only does it give you an answer, you can ask it where it found the information and it'll tell you. I apologize for any confusion. The information provided in my previous response was based on my understanding of the interaction between Evenly Matched and Floowandereeze monsters, taking into account their card text and general game mechanics. This is not based on any specific source, but rather my knowledge of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG rules and card interactions. Please note that my knowledge is based on the card effects and rulings up until September 2021, and new rulings on card interactions may have emerged since then. It literally just says, I just know. I just know the answer. Okay, chat, we're gonna give it the ultimate question. Prepare yourselves, for this will be a good one. I control Bean Soldier. No, I want a monster that specifically has 1500 attack. Chat, name a monster with 1500 attack. A vanilla, please. A vanilla with 1500 attack. Kumori Dragon? Cool. So if okay, I'll just give it a scenario. I equip Dark World Shackles to my Kumori Dragon. Then in a new chain, my opponent uses their Blackwing Gale of the Whirlwind to have the attack of my Kumori Dragon. If I use Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy my Dark World Shackles, what will the attack of my Kumori Dragon be after this resolves? Alright, what do you say, ChatGPT? If you control Kumori Dragon and your opponent controls Blackwing Gale of the Whirlwind, and you equip Dark World Shackles to your Kumori Dragon, and your opponent subsequently uses Blackwing Gale of the Whirlwind to have the attack of your Kumori Dragon, and then use Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy Dark World Shackles, the attack of your Kumori Dragon will return to its original value of 1500. No, none of this is happening in a chain, though. You misunderstood. None of these effects are being used in a single chain. Does this change the previous answer? Oh, it's separating into different chains. You equip Dark World Shackles to Kumori Dragon. Your opponent activates the effect of Blackwing Gale of the Whirlwind to have the attack of Kumori Dragon. No further chains are made, so Chain Link 1 resolves, reducing the attack of Kumori Dragon to 750. You activate Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy Dark World Shackles. Chain Link 1, Mystical Space Typhoon resolves and destroys Dark World Shackles. No further chains are made. Since Dark World Shackles is destroyed before the effect of Blackwing Gale of the Whirlwind, and the attack reduction is applied last, the attack of... None of this makes sense. Note that Dark World Shackles makes the attack of the monster it is equipped to become 100. Does this information change your previous response? Let's see. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. If Dark World Shackles uses the original attack of Kumori Dragon to 100, and then the effect of Blackwing Gale of the Whirlwind halves the value to 50, and then use Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy Dark World Shackles, it still thinks it's 1500. So the first chain reduces it to 100, then Gale reduces it to 50, but it doesn't know that the Gale will permanently set it to 50. Okay, I'm going to ask it, what is your reasoning in saying that the Kumori Dragon's attack returns to 1500? And I was going to have anxiety, and it's going to be like, no, you know what? No, you're right. It's giving me the reasoning. My reasoning is that Darkworld Shackles reduces the original attack of Komori Dragon to 100, and then the effect of Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind halves the value to 50. However, since Darkworld Shackles is destroyed before the effect of Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind is applied, the attack destruction of Darkworld Shackles is no longer applied when the effect of Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind resolves. As a result, the attack of Komori Dragon returns to its original value of 1500. This is supported by the rulebook, which states that the attack and defense modifications are applied in the order in which they are activated. I don't know why it thinks everything is being chained to each other when it's specifying that they are all in different chains. Let me specify, none of these effects are being used as quick effects. All of these effects are applying on completely different turns. Does this change your answer? Alright, if the effects of Komori Dragon, Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind, Darkworld Shackles, and Mischievous Typhoon are being used on different turns, then the order of application of their effects becomes irrelevant since each effect has been resolved on its own turn. If you activate Darkworld Shackles on one turn to equip the Komori Dragon and reduce the attack to 100, then your opponent uses Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind on a later turn to have the attack of Komori Dragon to 50, and then use Mystical Space Typhoon on yet another turn to destroy Darkworld Shackles. The attack of Komori Dragon would remain at 50 since the effect of Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind has already resolved and its attack reduction is permanent until the end of turn. What the fuck, dude? It would be 50. It understands. It didn't have a hard time understanding the, like, application. It only had a hard time understanding that the effects were not being chained to each other. That's crazy. I didn't even, like, really guide it. All the answers that I was giving it, all the things that I was saying to it, weren't guiding it towards the correct response. It was guiding it towards understanding the scenario that I'm asking it. Is it right if all were chained in sequence? Gale is not a quick effect, so you wouldn't be able to make that assumption. But even then, it would be wrong. Okay, chat. I'm going to ask it one final question. I'm going to ask it the ultimate ruling question. The final question, chat. What does Pot of Greed do? Pot of Greed is a card in the popular trading card game Yu-Gi-Oh! Its effect is to allow the player who activates it to draw 2 additional cards from their deck into their hand. This can be a useful card for quickly building up a hand of cards to use for future turns, but it also comes with the risk of depleting the player's deck more quickly, potentially leaving them vulnerable to defeat if they run out of cards to draw. You know, that makes sense. Alright, I think I'm done with the ChatGPT for today, boys. I think I'm done with ChatGPT. That was crazy. That was really funny. The fact that it kind of like somewhat knew rulings was very impressive though.